Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's complete. Another touchdown!
Cougar Sports Saturday. A presentation of KSL Sports.
Left wing for three. He got it again!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here are your hosts, Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
11 weeks from today, BYU football is back. The Cougars will take on the Southern Illinois Salukis inside LaVell Edwards Stadium, and you can hear the action right here on KSL News Radio, your legacy home of the Cougars. Kickoff at 6, pregame at 4, and Cougar Sports Saturday will be live that day, noon to 3, here on KSL News Radio. And it'll be an important game. They all are in a season where you only have 12 games, guaranteed opportunities. It's going to be a little more important, though, for my next guest, BYU football offensive lineman Connor Pay. That's because it's his final season as a BYU football player. Connor Pay made the decision to run it back one more year with the Cougars, and I caught up with him recently about his decision to come back and one final season in Cougar Blue.
Connor, spring ball in the rearview mirror, your final one. Is it kind of surreal to think? Are you looking at things like, wow, this is my final spring, final season coming up? Or how are you approaching this year?
It was a little weird. I was talking with some of the other seniors out at practice today, and we kind of looked at each other and we're like, this is our last spring ball practice at BYU. Like, it's kind of weird to think about because it's my fourth one, and so like they go by so quick too that it's like it's over before it even starts. It's crazy, but. No, I think that definitely brings, a sense of urgency for us a little bit. Just like keep improving, try to take advantage of every day. I already met with the O-line after practice for a few minutes talking about how we're going to take advantage of these off weeks, so we can come back ahead of where we would be if we really just took a few weeks off. Like, we're still going to be doing things while recovering from spring ball and stuff, so we can stay sharp. And I know all the other seniors feel that way too. So,
has urgency been kind of the theme you feel like coming for this 2024 team?
No doubt, because we underperformed last year, and that sucked. It sucked to play in it. I'm sure it sucked for people to watch it, and we don't want to ever have to do that again. And so that definitely brings a little bit of urgency.
I remember in Stillwater, that emotion, that was one of the most emotional scenes I've seen from this BYU program. Just how much did that inspire you to want to come back and to get back to the postseason and put BYU on solid ground in the Big 12?
It played a big role, just feeling like, there was unfinished business, especially to start off so well in that game. And then to just kind of step by step kind of let it slip away from us it was brutal. And so wanting to come back and right the ship and, have another chance to make a push in the Big 12 definitely for sure played a role in my decision to come back.
How close was it? Was it always you're going to come back? Because I remember last year it was like you were looking at last season as the last. How was it? 1 foot out the door, or how close was this decision?
It was very close because the whole season really, the plan was for that to be it. Like the year before last year, my stock was really high. I was one of the higher rated centers, and so, I was thinking come in, have another great year, raise that stock even more, and then strike while the iron's hot. But when you don't win, everybody's stock goes down. And so kind of on the back end of the season, just in talking to agents and things like that, you could see the writing on the wall, right? And just kind of realizing that, hey, my stock was dropping. We weren't playing as well as we should have. We weren't winning. And then it kind of, after the season ended, I kind of had to really, nail down what I was going to do, because the recommendations I had been getting from agents and other people who are kind of keeping me in the loop on where I was at, was like, hey, just the way things are going right now, if things stay the same at BYU, our recommendation would be to either just declare and go for it and kind of risk more the free agent route versus getting drafted, or to transfer. And I didn't want – I bleed blue through and through. Transferring would have been an absolute last resort for me. But then some changes were made. Coach Woods was brought in, and then they were kind of like, hey, go feel him out, and see what you think. And after I met with him a couple times while they were interviewing him, I loved him, and I felt comfortable about the decision to come back and try to get back to where I was, and not only individually, but I felt like he could really help our team. Because, I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you want to play in the NFL, you want to get drafted, you got to win. You got to win. The teams that win the most games get the most guys drafted, always. And so that's the focus right now, win as many games as possible, and the NFL will take care of itself. But on the personal side, I felt like Coach Woods could really help me get there, and he has done nothing but exceed my expectations so far this spring. So that's kind of the story, I guess.
Follow up on that, Connor, with Coach Woods. Has he brought the accountability that maybe this offensive line needed? Absolutely.
I think there's been two things that he's brought along with accountability. I think he's brought intensity and consistency, which was two things that we definitely needed. Where it's like we're being taught the same things all the time, and so there's no excuse when we're going over the same things every day. If you continue to screw them up, there's no gray area on certain things, and that's been huge, and that makes it really easy to hold people accountable because everyone knows what's supposed to happen, and then just his intensity and his love for the game, he's kind of he's spearheaded that for us and bringing that energy and that intensity in the O-line room and on the practice field, and I think it's all coming together really well. Still a new system. There are obviously some growing pains a little bit as we were trying to learn what he wanted and how to handle certain things. But overall, I thought we took some really good steps forward with him, especially in the run game.
Last couple things for you, Connor. The quarterback position group, Red Slaff, Bohannon, it's going to rage on in the fall. You being the center, I got to imagine you're getting a lot of work with them. Like, sure. What do these guys bring to the offense from your vantage point as a center?
Well, it's been really fun to watch them both play. And it's not always the easiest thing, to go 50-50, battle it out with somebody. But I think it's made both of them play better, honestly. And they're not doing it in a negative way where they're competing they're trying to make each other better. They've been very positive about it, and it hasn't been one versus the other. I think it's made them both play better. I mean, Jake is freaking slinging it. And he made some great decisions in spring ball and made some pretty amazing throws, and then Gary's been around the block. He led Baylor to that Sugar Bowl in 2021. So like he knows how to lead an offense, and have that and command that presence in the huddle. And so it's a really interesting dynamic having those two in there and seeing the differences in their styles. But honestly, they've both played really well. It's been pretty fun to watch, honestly.
Last thing, the schedule, it's almost like a new era again with the Big 12 with 16-team iteration. Utah is in the league. Does it feel weird that Big 12 country now includes BYU and Utah now?
Yeah, I think if you would have thought 4 or 5 years ago, nobody thought something like this would happen, where we'd end up in the same conference. But I think, as a player, I'm excited about it because I have so many friends that play for Utah. I want to beat them, and it'll be fun to play against them. But then as a fan, it's kind of cemented the Holy War back into a yearly. Okay, hopefully the Big 12 makes it a yearly matchup, preferably during rivalry week. I'm not sure what that was all about, but
you didn't like the November 9th spot?
No, I mean I like it. I just don't know why we wouldn't do it during rivalry week. But they obviously had a reason for it. But, it's going to be really interesting having them in the conference, then the extended schedule with 2 bye weeks. That's new. So it'll be interesting to see how the year plays out. But I'm a fan of it.
That was BYU offensive lineman Connor Pay here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio and KSLSports.com. Taking a break on the other side, more BYU football talk, this time with Jack Kelly, the newest member of the BYU football program at linebacker. Weber State transfer, his expectations in BYU Blue next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.